Good morning, dreamers. I have a confession to make. I'm having tea today, like my mug. It's one of those color changing ones. Kiddo got it for me for Christmas. Anyway, I did not take care of myself last night. Shouldn't put it that way. Last night's me didn't take care of this morning's me. I did take care of last night's me. I was working on a project and I got overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, just tired. And the clock got to a certain point and I said, I'm done, can't go on anymore. So I have switched sides of the table because there's a lot of stuff over there that needs to be cared for this evening when I get home from work. And then you didn't need to see that. But I'm confessing that today because it got me thinking. We get into rhythms of life where we carry on. And it used to be a very, very bad habit of mine to leave the kitchen and fall in exhaustion at the end of the evening. And then the next morning, it was same routine, same routine, same routine. And I'm cleaning up the kitchen before I do supper, and then I don't want to clean the kitchen again. But due to some excellent teaching, I got into the rhythm of last night's me taking care of this morning's me, and this morning's me taking care of tonight's me. And it's an excellent rhythm of care that you need to be in. But I'm still at the kitchen table. This kitchen table is precious to me. My cousin gave it to me, but someone very special gave it to him. It's my grandmother's table. And regardless of what side of the table we sit on, this table welcomes people because it originated with one of the most hospitable people you would ever find on the face of this earth. Broken people sat here and wept and cried as Grandma got coffee on for them in the middle of the night. Happy people sat here as they brought their babies to share with Norma. This table, regardless of if the kitchen is messy or regardless of which side of the table I sit on, is Grandma's table. But you know what was so amazing about Grandma? She took care of everyone else. When she felt she had no ministry to give and nothing to offer, she went to the nursery and she rocked babies. She made babies feel welcome and safe. She made mamas feel that they could leave their babies for a moment and go and sit with daddy in big church. Man, when we get back together again, CCC could really use a Norma because we had 9 babies in 1 year and more on the way. For such a little church, our percentages just. Anyway, that's beside itself. Um, this table, the rhythm of care this table gave Norma's world was something beyond compare. I want everyone welcome at this table too. And I say she took care of everyone else, but there's two things I remember that Norma did to take care of Norma. One was every morning she laid out all her medicine. It was all sat down at the side of, um, actually, it was usually in a little tiny lid of some sort of plastic container, and she put it in there, and it's like a little plate. And she put it at the side of Grandpa's spot and her spot. She took care of herself. She followed the doctor's instructions. There's another list of instructions that she followed and she revisited every day, probably more than once a day, but I know minimum every day, and that is the Christian Holy Bible. Grandma was the most passionate Jesus follower. She was not highly educated. She was not a deep theologian, but one thing she was connected to the Holy Spirit. She never used the Bible to push people into a corner and say, you stay there. She used the Bible to develop a practical theology of love. And she set her mind on things above rather than on things right here. And sometimes we get carried away in the rhythms of life and we get overwhelmed by the here and the now. We get stuck in a job that we hate. We get stuck in a rhythm that we do not like. And when we lift our eyes and turn them towards Jesus, turn them towards the Creator, we start to see that there's a purpose. Are you in a job you cannot stand? What can you do about that? Are you going to sit and choose to wallow in it and complain day in and day out, day in and day out? Or is there something positive you can see? I'm thinking of very specific friends who have come to me saying, I need a new job. Help me do my resume. I need a new job. I can't get you a new job, but I can cheer you on as you go looking. I can cheer you on as you call and book interviews. It's the hardest time of all to be looking for something new. Maybe our view just simply has to change. I don't know. I know that Norma, in her ironing and washing and her caretaking of everyone, could have gotten overwhelmed. And there were days that were very, very dark for Grandma. Very dark. But then she lifted her eyes to things above rather than things below. Lift your eyes today, dreamer, and dream again. And if it's time to put those dreams into actions, I'll be praying that you get the interview you want, that you get the raise you need, that you get a new position. I have at least 6 friends right now that are really, really struggling with their day in, day out existence because of something at work. But let your work be for Him. Lift your eyes, and perhaps you'll see something. It might be different. It might be a cup of tea instead of a coffee, but it'll be just as soothing. It'll be just as wonderful. And maybe switching sides of the table will help you see it's about the table in the first place. It's about the person with whom it originated. So, my dreamers, have a wonderful Thursday. Sweet dreams.